Hey guys, Mr. Zern here. Want to give you another little demo in App Inventor, really focusing on today the notifier. So just got a little simple program here. We can see I'm label and I have a button. And if you haven't already with your happy balance game, you're going to need a notifier. And you can find the notifier just in the main user interface box right there. And you just want to drag and drop that onto your tablet screen. Keep in mind it's a non-visible component, so it's going to show up down here. I also have some sounds just kind of highlight that for you. All right, so with that in place, I'm ready to jump over here. Now, your notifier is going to be attached somewhere else. For example, it's going to be on the, hey, like when sad image sprite or sad sprite touched, do this thing. But it's going to want to show you, you could stick a notifier really anywhere, and I'm going to put it inside this button. So inside this button event handler. So I'm going to go inside a notifier, and I'm going to need, there's lots of options here, but we're going to be working with this one here. So this call notifier. And you can see I've got a couple options. I've got a message. I've got a title. I've got button 1, button 2, cancelable, true or false. And basically, if it's true, there'll be, basically, for example, yes, no, cancel. And you can click cancel, and it just goes away. If I set it to false, the word cancel isn't there. I mean, you're forcing them a binary choice. Hey, yes or no, or whatever they put in there. All right, so I'm just going to grab some text strings here. And so my message goes here. And I almost feel like message and title should be the other way around. I think you'll kind of see that in your tablet. But I can say, I'll just call it message for now, and I'll just copy paste that. And this one is the title. I think the first time you test the app, you'll see like where they look. But ultimately, the big part here that I want to focus on is these two buttons. And so let's say we have a yes button and a no button. And so at this point, if I was to test this app and press the button, this notifier would show up, and it would say message, it would say title. One button would say yes, the other button would say no, and I would not have the ability to cancel it. Now, I could press the yes button or the no button, and the notifier would go away, but absolutely nothing is going to happen. And this is the same with your happy balance game. You would click it and just the notifier would go away, but nothing would change. Your sad sprite would still be stuck there on the screen. Your happy sprite would still be invisible. The accelerometer would still be frozen. So we need to take the next step, and this is kind of a two-part process. So under notifier, now I'm ready to grab this, hey, when notifier after choosing block. So let me just kind of see if I can get this so we can see them both pretty well. All right. So now we're going to set up some stuff here, and this is where we can get into control and use one of these conditional statements, this if then. I'm going to need some logic. So I'll grab equals, and you'll see this choice. And so basically, oops, come on back. There we go. This get choice. So if the choice equals, and you got to think about your options. So why I wrote yes and I wrote no. So I'll say text, and I'll grab that text box, and I'll write yes. And let me go get a sound, and we'll say if I click yes, the coin is going to play. Now, look really carefully, because if I was to test this app, it would not play the coin sound. And you have to look very carefully and see how this is lowercase yes and this is capital S. And the computer would treat those as totally different statements. So it's not uncommon for people to do something like that. And then here they do this. And again, the computer doesn't see those as the same thing. So especially if you write like a long phrase, your best bet might be just to copy paste it and use that to ensure that it works. The other problem people have is they go and they test it, and you'll see then like this message title thing kind of is like, oh, how should that go? And they decide to change things a little bit, so they change the button text because they realize they've spelled something wrong, or for whatever reason they've changed it, but they forget to change it here, and then suddenly the notifier's not working. So hey, I'm like, hey, if you press the yes button, it's going to play the sound, and at that point, that's when you would, make certain things happen. So just, for example, let me just pull out this label, and I'll set it to visible, and then false. And so if you said yes, the label one label would suddenly disappear, like it makes it invisible. Or if it was, or I could flip it around the other way and say, hey, and it would show up then in addition to playing the sound. If you wanted to go one further, you could do that off and just again kind of copy paste them, and then I start to make some changes. And so in this case, I'll just copy paste the no and stick that in there. Delete. And I could play the other sound, and in this case, set it to false. And so when I press the button, the notifier would come up, and and I have the choice between saying yes, I'm done, or no. If I click yes, I'm done, the Mario coin sound would play, and the label one would stay visible or become visible, depending on what's going on before that. If I click the button again, uh, in this time, click the no option, the fart sound would play and the label would become visible false. So it would basically become invisible then. But a notifier is sort of two parts there. So one, whatever's triggering that notifier event, we got to put that call in there and kind of fill those things out. And the two big ones being this button one and this button two. And then once you've done that, you got to go into the notifier and get this after choosing, and then kind of put that together. So typically using some kind of conditional statement, if this choice is met. So if this button is clicked, do all these things. If the other button is clicked, don't do these other things. Now for your happy balance game, you don't really need to know. The no would just basically make the notification box disappear, and you're just kind of sitting there. Obviously, if they click yes, you're going to re-enable the accelerometer, make the sad face invisible, make the happy face visible. If you've got a scoreboard or something like that, maybe you're, adding points, subtracting points, or adding lives, subtracting lives, depending on what's going on. But I just kind of wanted to give you that little demo there on the notifier, and hopefully that's helpful for you. All right, guys, looking forward to trying out your happy balance game, and I will talk to you later.